Hey, 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 today is the day that you all have been waiting for. If you're listening to this right now, what I need you to do is pick up your phone and go to www.tobesingleornottobe.com because our website is live, our apparel is live, our blog is live, and there is so much more in store on the website, and we are super excited about it. This is the first launch of many. Our brand has so many more things that we're going to present to you, but right now we need for you to just go and check out that website. Tell a friend, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on Snapchat, Twitter, whatever your social media may be. But right now, we just need for you to join in this To Be Single or Not To Be movement because we are coming, we have made it, and we are here to stay. So again, www.tobesingleornottobe.com. We are live. Go make a purchase today, and when you do, be sure to post it on Instagram and tag us at To Be Single or Not To Be. Signing off, Montana. You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not To Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode to be single or not to be. So today's topic is toxicity in relationships. And this is a topic that we're going to dive into that's deals with relationships that are more than partnerships or spousal. We're talking about family, friends, associates, all that good stuff, because it's 2020. It's time for us to set those boundaries. It's time for us to no longer allow people to maneuver in our lives in a toxic way. And it's time for us to just go to therapy if necessary. That's a huge part of it. That's a word right there. So that said, I wanted to bring in some individuals who I think who I know can add some value to the podcast. So for starters, we have Positively Meek in the building.
What up, everybody?
Up next, we have Dr. Grant. Say hello.
Hello.
We have Miss Henderson.
Hey, y'all.
Next, we have Miss Nicole.
Hello.
And last but not least, we have Mrs. Freeman.
All right.
All right, Kevin Hart. All right, everybody. All right. Look, sisters, how y'all doing? Brothers, y'all all right? It's a perfect person to have on the menu, Erykah Badu, in regards to toxicity, because I know she does not allow it. So going right into it, toxicity in 2020. We know that, like I just said, we're doing the self-work. And like I think we are one of the first generations that's really doing it. But why are people still standing strong in any toxic relationship and not setting the boundaries they need to or getting the help they need to stand up for themselves? And what I mean by that is so many times we still sit in situations, maybe with our family, and we allow people to say, well, you know, that's how so-and-so is. Or we stay in a relationship where it's clear that this man or woman is treating us like shit. And we just say, well, I've been with him for 4 or 5 years. We have an excuse of time, you know. So why are we still allowing excuses to let us sit in the toxicity and not doing the work to move along? Because it's better to be, I feel like, I can do bad all by myself.
Can I answer on something to that? Sometimes you don't realize it's toxic because you're toxic too.
Well.
And I mean, you see those people, they like a little bit of crazy and they brag about it. Like, you know, if he ain't going off on me, he don't love me.
Yeah.
Anytime I should, you know, he got to cheat a little bit. All men cheat, you know, because you're used to toxic.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes that's healthy, i.e. Russell, he's boring.
Yeah.
I'll take boring.
He's lame. He's a square.
Yeah.
And you used to that future.
Yeah,
that's real.
So now he's no fun.
He's, you know, he ain't a fun.
What Lil Duval say? You need to be with that boring nigga. Quote unquote boring.
Because I mean, we hear our homegirls describe like the perfect mate, and you know, a lot of times it's like, well, he can't be too this, too that. He got to have a little hood, a little rap.
But they go like the Tupac with a little bit of the Steve Urkel mixed in there. I guess.
Right. You know, because people feel like a little bit of toxic is a little bit healthy.
Why do people like toxicity though? What would y'all say? Why do they like it? From a therapy standpoint. What's
that ain't me.
Is it the trauma? So do y'all think that, like, because I know some people have gone through so much trauma.
If we're being like, you gravitate to what you know.
Okay.
Your mama and daddy argued all the time. The households you were in, that's how it functioned. So you learned how to get what you needed from that. So therefore, you know how to function in that environment. even so, making it real simple, plants function in the environment. Cactuses can live, or cacti can live anywhere. But if you put them in an environment that could be the best of environments for you, but the worst for them, they're not gonna know what to do.
I'm not gonna survive.
That's why a lot of us have to go to therapy when we get into a beautiful relationship. Sitting on the couch like, hey sis, this man actually love me. What am I supposed to do?
Do I feed it? What do I
I want to run. I can't talk back. Like, and he said he love me, and I actually, like, it don't make me cringe. Like, he mean it. But I'm finna fuck this up.
Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage.
Love is blind. Gigi.
Yeah.
That dude was just nice, and she just like, in my family we yell, we fight.
That's normal.
That's normal.
Exactly.
That's her normal.
I'm loud. I like this, and it's like
your man don't deal with that.
And then her parents show up and got the nerve to want to look normal sitting at the kitchen table. We just they were very chill. They were very chill. She done told on y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
But that goes back to what we think is okay and how we normalize those things. And it's like she said that, we're loud, we argue, but you're dealing with a man that's not used to that. So you need to be able to accommodate and realize that you are the toxic person. So one thing I'm big on, and we see this a lot on social media, is I know y'all constantly see people complain about things in their life. And we'll say just relationships, It's always somebody arguing, fighting, throwing subliminal messages. And what I never can figure out, I'm all about knowing if I'm going through something and I'm going to try to get some help, try to find some resolve. I'm all about how can I work to fix the issue? Why do we have people who complain about, oh, I'm with the future? Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Or I'm over here, I know I'm self-sabotaging, but I'm still self-sabotaging. Why do we have people complain about these problems, yet they do nothing to fix them?
It's the attention.
Both. There you go.
Attention.
I think it's the attention. But like when you think of the people, because we're in the age of social media, when they post, oh, my baby daddy did this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
Or
likes.
Girl.
85
people
comments.
will like it. Or a comment they ass off, and it's like they're putting it out there and it's toxic to the max. But they're getting the attention.
Yeah.
And so it's not even about the whole situation anymore. It's all about what is gonna bring the most, I guess
attention.
What do you call it? Viral.
Yeah, what's going to go about,
and that's the age we're living in. So they're not even thinking about my safety, my mental health, or anything like that. They're thinking about what's going to garner the attention because apparently they didn't get it from somewhere else.
Yeah. Or they didn't get it from their partner when they were sitting there fighting with them at home. So now I'm going to go online and get this attention and validation from these people who really don't give a damn about me.
They don't give a damn about your situation.
They just like laughing and talking about you that one week y'all in love, the next week y'all not. One week you get your taxes, everything is good. The next week he gone with a new chick on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Hey, Future.
That's how it works. So
somebody else's future.
And it's crazy the way that attention and that validation drives them, because recently I had a post about I would say, well, not recent, it was a couple months ago, talking about like mental health and anxiety. And I put a disclaimer, like, I know that stuff is real. I don't take anything away from that. I said, however, if you are a person that feels like you do have those mental health issues, what are you doing to seek out help? And so I had a lot of people that came in that some people were giving, solid answers like, I know I need help, I'm just not getting it. But I had a lot of people, it was crazy the amount of people that came in and made excuses for why they were behaving in a certain way. And so after a while, the people never just kind of talk to themselves. I was like, I'm not about to keep going back and forth with you. But something this is true, you all can relate to. What I saw, now mind you, I'm going to give a little disclaimer. Two of the people that was on here saying this shit, I know them offline. And I know that's had more to do with what they were saying online. So it was two girls that were like, their situation, they said once they became a mom, like their lives just like went to hell, is what they were saying. And so I was like, I do get that becoming a mom does change your life. I was like, but I know a lot of moms that still function and they do okay. And they still out in the world. But they really were very adamant, like life became like a piece of shit after you have kids. Y'all don't understand. Y'all ain't got no kids. Like just going in. And I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm not a mom. However, I do know there are a lot of tools and resources and stuff out there to help you if this is how you truly are feeling. But what I do know, and I said I know these people offline, I know that one of y'all hate y'all husband. That's one part of it. And the other one, y'all decided to go move to Timbuktu, so you don't have no help or resources. So it's like, let's talk about the bigger picture. But it's situations like that stand out to me when people are willing to get on Facebook and talk about out loud how much they hate their life. But in the same sentence, like, don't want to do nothing about it.
So I'm going to say to stuff like that, I'm that person that get on people's nerves. Cause I'm gonna be like, so here's some resources.
Yeah, cause you would be replying with resources, and I'm just like,
here's some resources, and then I'm gonna ask you, cause I know some people who do that too. It's with self-harm or other things. So y'all know y'all probably need to like block me or let me unfollow y'all, cause I gotta ask the questions like how do you really feel? Situations like that. Like people love putting memes out for their situations.
Oh yeah.
I would literally go find one that says, be careful who you have children with, because some things you can't undo. Like, you can't get mad with that baby because you ain't happy with the daddy. Like, leave that man and go get happy then, sis. Like, we can't help you.
Or just log on Facebook with what it is. Might need to be happy.
And I think some people they don't look at the reality of, like, actually starting a family. Like, there is a lot of sacrifice.
Absolutely.
That tiny human comes in and shakes up everything that you thought. They don't follow the rules. They don't give a shit about it. They make the new rules. You fall in line with them, and then you're losing a part of yourself. And I think people really don't consider that.
They don't grasp
we just like babies because they're cute, and hell, this is what the phase we think we're supposed to enter in. But you really have to prepare yourself for losing a bit of the freedom that you normally have had. And it's not the kid's fault. It's you didn't adapt, or you didn't prepare yourself for this next phase. So it's like it comes. You like you say, you were given. I read that you were like, what about mom groups? Like y'all don't like link up and shit. And, and she's like, I'm tired of y'all using excuses for why y'all can't do shit. It's outside and help each other.
This is outside of toxicity, but like, to be honest, like, we enter certain phases into our life thinking they're gonna be glorious because that's what we've seen. Motherhood, being a wife, like sometimes, honestly, for some people, they're not what like you have prepped up in your mind. Hormones when it comes to having a baby, like you said, schedules and all of that. Like, that throws off your norm.
And we romanticize so many things.
And for some people, it's hard to come back from. And even with a marriage, like, people talk about how their husbands are like their first, whatever child. Like, he's added to what you have been taking care of.
They call it the Peter Pan syndrome.
So, like, it's that idea of, one, yes, are you toxic too? And then two, when you're going into these situations, have you truly... not only but are you truly understanding what you signing up for?
Absolutely.
Because people have an idea, and I think that applies to so many things. We have this idea, and I remember my biology teacher at TSU used to always say that having a healthy baby is not the norm. Like, that's not something that always happens. So if you do happen to have a child and they come out and they are healthy, that's great. But once they get here, like, people say they like your broke best friends. You got to do everything for them. You got to take care of them. And so it's like life changes. And so I think that people just have to be able to grasp that. But what I would say with the going back to, relationships and things like that, how do you know if you're in a toxic relationship? Because some of us think that trauma is normal. Like, some of us think that the arguing and the fighting and the talking crazy and the silent treatment think is normal. So how do you know, say if you aren't the toxic one, how can you identify, like, this might not be right, might not be healthy?
So, sometimes I feel like it does take having, like, outside people that you do trust to be able to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Because it was very interesting. There was one relationship that I had that was kind of toxic, and I didn't realize that it was toxic until somebody said it was toxic, and I'm just like, well, he's not doing, he's not beating
me.
He's not calling me a bitch. He ain't doing this and that. But it was a lot of really, like, subtle emotional manipulation. And, like, certain things that I picked up on after they said it. They were like, it was one of my mentors who actually, like, does card readings and such. So she pulled these cards. She was like, there's something going on here. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, you're in this, like, toxic situation. It's blocking your light. It's stopping your gifts. The more that you continue to be in this, you will lose these things. And I was like, what you mean? Like, right. And I'm like, well, I don't think it's toxic. Like, I literally sat there and then I started processing, and I was like, oh, before I got here, I was arguing with this nigga. That's why this energy is coming out in the cards because he was just like trying to make me feel bad or make me feel guilty for something that I didn't do that he did. Right. You know, whatever. Always. And then it like, you know, I just think having that outside, like, cause just like she said in the beginning, like, you don't know you're in toxic situations, you know, cause maybe that's your norm. That's just what you've seen. That's what you think it is. So it takes those, you know, sound people outside of you to be like,
you might need to look
definitely
at that twice.
When you're immersed in
the mix of
every
it,
day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's important afterwards to step out of it and do that reflection and to like really try to figure out, okay, why was it this, you know, this way that I was attracted to this? Why did I accept this? Why did I not see this? Right. But where is that in my life? Does that link back to what piece in my childhood did I not feel like I deserved something more than that? Or what was I see, you know, and then that helps you so you move forward and then you can see the red flags like, no. Yeah, right. I see you here before. Yep. See you. Right.
So when it shows back up, you know, like, this ain't it.
This ain't it.
Say that. So do you all think that toxic relationships ever start off good and then they go left?
So if we were talking about a specific form of toxicity, so domestic violence, there's often a cycle. Okay. The cycle is often power control. You have forms of like microaggressions. Like it's subtle. So like there's always the honeymoon phase because that person has to get your trust. They have to make it where you feel comfortable. If I'm like, hey, we about to move away from all our family and friends, but you know I got you. You know, like
it's gonna be me and you against the world.
They have to set the scene up. They can't come in bulldozing because you ain't gonna like you gonna see it coming. So they gotta give you the bed of flowers. And then hit you with the, you know, the 1-2. Yeah. And then once that happens, you get more flowers. So it's like the cycle starts where you literally are going through happy phases and then all the bad and then happy again. Until eventually you realize they stop even coming back with the apologies or the flowers because they realize now you're not going nowhere or you can't go anywhere. So I don't have to give you a good side anymore. I can literally just give you all this crap.
It's like Stockholm Syndrome and you've become conditioned. They condition you to do it, so you just stay in it. And I think that when it comes to relationships, I do think, like you just said, the honeymoon phase. I think no matter what the relationship is, they all go through that. You know, a lot of times it may last 3-6 months. Oh yeah, it's just so in love, you're so enamored.
Every time their name comes up, I'm like,
yes.
This is gonna look around, and I'm right like,
yeah. But you get you're right.
She wants something. What do you want? Damn. God.
You ain't answering like I'm gonna call him back. I'm gonna text him what he wants. I think they do start off good, but there's definitely with the domestic abuse it goes another way. But I think about when I think about the toxic situations I was seeing, like emotional, the narcissism, the gaslighting, all that stuff, and every single one of them, I would say, in the past, they really only were good for like the first 2 months. So I wasn't even so gone, but again, I didn't have my relationship awakening by then. So for me, 2 months seemed like an eternity. Like I really like this nigga. I think he the one. Right. Even though, you know, this nigga like damn near homeless. How you think he the one, sis? You know, so but you just ignoring all of the red flags. You know, so you do. So tell me, in regards to relationships that cover family, friends, we talk about coworkers, associates. How do you handle toxic relationships outside of partners? Because sometimes those are people that are permanent, unlike a partner. So what do you do if the toxic person may be a parent or a spouse or a coworker or a colleague? You know, how do you handle those people? Because you can't just cut them off.
So
I mean, you can, but
because I want to start by saying anybody that is not good for you or is not contributing to your health and well-being, they're never permanent. You can walk away from any situation.
Ooh, say that.
Your job, yes, they're providing you with something, but you can find another one. You can walk away. Yes, your parents gave birth to you. We thank them for giving you life. But that whole, I brought you into this world and I take you out, we don't live by that.
We don't.
You gave me life and that's what God intended for, but I know he did not intend for you to take me out. Like, you know? So And the same with siblings and other people, because with that, the permanent fixture, the way they stand, they can't change the fact that they are related to you. There's blood coursing through y'all veins. Yeah. So we can always come back and mend this relationship if it's meant to be mended.
Yeah.
So if you want to think about them as permanent, think about them as permanent fixtures that go get right what you need to get right, or go handle you and build you. And if you feel you need to reconcile, come back and reconcile. But don't stay and continue to be torn down because you think they're permanent.
Right.
And I think that, especially for our community, that people always feel that because they're family or relatives that you have to deal with it.
Blood thicker than water.
You know, and I have a core group in the family, which is the family that I, interact with. My siblings and my mom are like, that's my real core. But there are some relationships family wise that I don't deal with those. Do I wish harm on them or anything like that? No.
Yeah.
But I don't allow whatever those people have going on with them or whatever their deal is to infiltrate on my everyday life, because it becomes toxic at that point too, because you may not see them all the time, but they're influencing how you interact with other people too. And so it's like you just have to choose who you determine who's going to be in this part of your life, who isn't, or who you choose to reach back to and, mend that fence, who you don't. But really, relationships, being relatives or coworkers, anything like that, people are fluid. They can come in, they can come out.
Yeah.
But if they're not, useful to you at that point in your life, then to me, they can easily be cleaved off and move on to the next. Yeah. So,
and I think that also deals a lot with the boundaries.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. You no longer, I think we just can no longer be afraid to put those in place with no matter who it is. Because we tend to think like, I can't tell my mom this, or I can't tell my sister this, or I have to always say yes at work. No, you don't. You don't have to function in that way. And I think that once people start to implement boundaries in a different way, then they'll see different results.
And I think too with boundaries, we often see them as it's do or die.
Yeah.
Like if I do this, they're gonna say no and it's gonna be over forever. Yeah. Like you gotta kind of quit that absolute thinking. Like I know it's difficult for some of us. It shows up as anxiety and other things, or some of us just don't even. Our attachment to these individuals already is based off this, like something that's happened in the past where they actually have left. Or emotionally they left us, and you feel like you don't have much of them left you're holding on to anyway, so this is just like cutting that tie. Like you will have to understand how to healthily, in a healthy manner, view relationships, and understand that healthy view has to span with your family and friends. And oftentimes if you're going to be successful in setting those boundaries and having healthy view relationships in a marriage or with a spouse, it starts with your family and friends. It starts with those coworkers. So use them as practice. Like think of it that way. Like if this was a game of checkers, they're the pre-round. They're not the championship. Yeah. Like they're the ones you're going through playing that game and understanding, ooh, that pushed me back a little bit. Okay, so now I know on the next, like when it's my turn again, I know which angle to come from. Like think of it like that. Like in a game of chess or checkers, you got to learn how to actually learn the foundations of the game, and you learn that with the people you came into life with.
Absolutely. I love it. So how would you all say, since we're talking about healthy relationships, how do you all think they become toxic? If the people, like say if you start out with some like 2 healthy people, but then it goes down that road, because I was reading something earlier, they kind of talked about sometimes people get bored, sometimes people have missed expectations, like maybe expectations you might have not have communicated to your partner, but in your mind you want them to happen. It's almost like you have a love language, but your partner don't know your love language, so how can they really tap into it? And then also resentment, like I've been asking you about these expectations, you still haven't done them, and so now it's like, nigga, I've been wanting to go on a vacation all year and we ain't went on one, so now I'm mad. I'm big mad.
Or something could be a trigger. So you have 2 healthy people, or healthy relationship, quote unquote, and then there could be, I could have a bad day at work. It could be something catastrophic. Yeah. I come home and just something I say can set off my partner. Yeah. And then here we are, they're viewing me differently. Yeah. And that sets the tone for how we're moving forward in a relationship, because that person can never let go of that one moment that I had, not knowing where it stemmed from, because it triggered whatever it was that may have happened to them in the past. Right. So, we all have those certain situations to where we think everything's good, but it only takes one thing, honestly, to turn a relationship toxic. Yeah. And then for you to think, oh, well, it's been good all this time and this just happened, it's not really toxic. It's just the thing. Yeah. Or it's just the phase.
But it really is.
And it's really no longer good for either of you at that point.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
So, I was going to ask, were we talking about, like, romantic?
Both.
So, in terms of, like, our relationships, I definitely agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said. Because a lot of times, especially in familiar relationships with those that are like, you know, I can remember up to this point, we lived like this, you know, grand life, and then somebody lost a job. Or we lived this grand life, and then somebody's parent got sick, and when my grandparents got sick, my parents' relationship did this.
Yeah.
Like, those transitions in life cause other things to kind of trickle down. And what happens is, because relationships are made up of multiple people, we are strong as our weakest link. Yeah. So if somebody's falling off and we don't have the bandwidth, the capacity, or the learned experience to handle that, then
there you go.
The learned experience is coming as we're learning to handle that piece. Yeah. So for that generation that's handling that may be toxic, but then it also builds the stamina or the bandwidth of the next generation, which also leads into your thing of like, how do we know it's toxic if that's what we've always been used to? Right. You just build their stamina to handle that. Yep. So if that's what's happening, they're not gonna know that's toxic until it's a new level of that. Then they're like, oh, okay, that was it wasn't that bad last time. You know, we didn't do that. Right. And then also, especially with friendships and other things, we hear it a lot, and it's really not a cliche. All things have a season. All things. So sometimes it's not just that it became toxic. You could have had a trauma bond with somebody and you became healthy and it's time to let it go. Yeah. They could have became healthy and you hadn't dealt with it yet, so they gotta walk away. Right. So we have to understand too, with the toxicity, like sometimes it's not that it just became this way. It's that something has happened and a growth moment has happened. It's like, okay, it's time to prune now. It's the next level season, like next level. So I gotta let these people go or let these situations go and move on to the next. Right. So toxicity in those senses can literally be when you've gotten to a place where you've outgrown a situation and it's time to move on.
And that's what I was over here thinking. I was like, we're all dynamic beings and we're constantly changing. So, you know, a lot of times, is it really a toxic situation or am I just toxic right now? Am I just, you know, I got something that triggered me. I had something that shook me to my core. I lost my job. I had this, I had that. And I'm struggling to pick up the pieces and be whole again. Yeah. So I'm becoming toxic in our relationship. Right. You know, whether it is I'm your mother and I'm allowing you to carry some of my stuff, whether it is, you know, I'm your partner and I can't show up for you in the ways that you need me to show up for you. I can't be intimate with you because I'm really not all the way whole within myself. You know, whatever it is, it's like, I think there are those seasons where if you don't have the right people and those people are not meant to be with you for multiple seasons, or, you know, you don't have the right capacity to be able to identify those things, to be able to be like, okay, let's try to, you know, work it out. Let's try to get some other help if we need it. Let's try to, you know, do something. It can become a very toxic ground. Oh, yeah. And then from there, then the whole relationship is fucked up. Yeah. But it's just like, it could, like, that's one thing. I know my friend had posted that not long ago and he was like, are people just toxic or do they do toxic things? Do they have toxic behaviors, toxic habits sometimes? Are you really, you know, we're quick to label people like, oh, he's toxic. Yeah. But it's just like, or is he just toxic right now? Right now. Is he just, you know, because he's in this stage of his healing that he is toxic in some areas. And, you know, sometimes it spills over into other relationships. Right. People. So,
but it doesn't mean it's overall or
and
forever.
And that resentment piece, you can have resentment in multiple relationships. And just thinking about, like, those other areas, coworkers, siblings, all these people can have resentment against someone, especially if they feel they're getting something they didn't get. So, if I have any babies in the room, no hard feelings. I'm the oldest. And I know there are times it's not resentment to the point like I'm like, oh, I want to fight my siblings. But things I have to like do a heart check. You know, sometimes talk to my therapist about when you think about the things that you're helping them celebrate. Or you might be helping your family fun for them. And you like, I ain't even had that experience. Yeah. Like I'm watching it on camera or I'm taking off from this to go do this with them. And I'm like, yo, I totally missed that. So why people like, around them having their memories and talking about, oh, you remember what our night was like? I remember such, and you just like, I'm here because I'm supporting you, or I'm paying because I don't want you to miss it like I missed it. But you know, so and like once again, but you realize like, okay, this can cause resentment, or I need to check this. Like, if this is how I feel, like, am I truly happy? And if I'm not fully present, let me fix that. And then you can't tell me a person that has stayed in a relationship that they know they need to leave that at some point does not get resentment.
Oh yeah,
and it's not that you're a toxic person. It's like you said, you're toxic at that moment because you're literally thinking about at some point all the stuff I done did in this relationship or neglected or the sacrifices I've made. And it no longer becomes the sacrifices that we've made or what we've done. Because you at that point are thinking, all I see is all the fun you've had. All the stuff you not telling me that you've done that we should have done, but you was doing with somebody else. Like, you know, whatever reason I have this relationship in it. And it's just like, I'm still here. And at one point, it almost feels like I stunted my growth to a extent. Like, I stayed here thinking we were going to get better and move on together. And now I'm having to be faced with the choice of like, am I going to play, like, at this point, play dumb and be the fool because now the whole world knows what's happening? Right. Or am I going to walk away and move on? And there's a piece of that healing that is literally just letting go of the resentment of recognizing you made the choice to be in that relationship, whether it be romantic, whatever relationship. Because friendships, it happens that way too. And then the piece of, in moving on, having to let go of the resentment of all the things you didn't do and realize, can I do them now moving forward with myself or with someone else? Or do I just have to acknowledge the fact that I missed that opportunity, but there's something greater still coming?
Okay. I like it. I love it. Do you all think there's any coming back from a relationship once it's gone bad? I kind of like what you were saying about sometimes it's just a toxic moment or a toxic phase.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be, I mean, there are some, like, it was something some meme I saw that made me think of it, and it was just like, where it's like, okay, I don't fool with you, but you know, like, you cool, I ain't cursing you or nothing, but you just can't eat at my table, right? Like, that's just what it is, right? Like, and so I've had to learn, like, you know, even I kind of mentioned just like my relationship with my aunt, and she did some things that really hurt me, and so I had to like come back to her and be like, you know, that really hurt me. That's when she was like, well, reinforce them differently, and we just had a conversation. I know how she is. You know, and I'm like, my love is unconditional. So I love you unconditionally, but I don't think, you know, once you mishandle me a certain way, I don't really know how to get back into a certain groove with you. That goes for anybody. Anybody. Absolutely. You know, and so for my aunt, there was just certain things that I just felt, you know, as my aunt and as being an aunt, I wouldn't have done. Right. And things that I expected from you, and a certain respect that I have for you, a certain pedestal that I put you on. And now I realize, like, nah, I can't do it. But I also see you. I get that you got stuff you working on, and you was just had a toxic moment. Yeah. Because you had a lot of, you was fighting some depression. You was fighting, you know what I'm saying? I acknowledge that. Yeah. But I have to protect myself at the end of the day. Yeah. So I have to know, like, okay, I can't do this. And so it's the same thing. It made me think about, like, friends, when you were talking about, like kind of having resentment or even just having friends. Like, there's some people that you just can't talk to about stuff, and me and my friend talk about this all the time. Like, if it's a man, I have one friend, if it's a man, I don't talk to her about no man. Yeah. I remember I made a comment one time, and they were like, we were somewhere, and some little couple was dancing. They were, you know, they was kind of offbeat, but they was like, you know, together, they was happy. And I'm like, oh, I just love seeing that. Like, you don't give a fuck about nobody, you just dancing. And my friend was like, oh, I just can't wait to have, you know, our man, he got to be a dancing partner, And I was dating somebody at the time, and I was like, oh, we go to salsa classes together. Like, I have a dancing partner. And she's like, oh, do you really? Do you really? And I was like, okay, my bad. Okay. And our other mutual friend, you know, she kind of brought up a trip that she went on, and, you know, she was just like, yeah, I went on a trip and we did all this great stuff, and she was like, she was just so dry when I talked to her. She was just so dry. And I was like, yeah, girl, you can't talk to her about men. You can't talk about it because she's not thriving in that area. Oh, yeah, so then I had to think about it. I said, is she really a hater? Or is she just a hater because she's just one of those people that can't really cheer for other people in that area? Yeah. Exactly. And I know she has good intentions. I know that she does support me. I get those things, you know, because she has shown up in a lot of different ways. Yeah. You know, but then it's just like, there's some times where, you know, me personally, I could be down bad, but I'm going to still cheer you on because I just come from people like that. Yeah. But, you know, it's just for her, I just think she just can't help it because her shit ain't together for real. Her, you know, she's not happy in certain areas. areas. So because of that, you know, it kind of makes her come off as a hater. And then it's like, ooh, let me back up. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to share anything with you.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I don't need that. I'm happy.
Right,
you know?
right.
Don't come up here with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Go away from me.
And that's why I say you definitely have to do heart checks. Because I know, like, even for me, like, in the beginning of my single season, I literally just told my, it's like, look, I have a place to myself now. I live by myself. I don't mind. I would talk to them about they, you know, man, we laugh and joke. But, like, I don't want to be in no intimate settings with y'all. Don't invite me to no dates where I got to... Because it's like, for me, it was too much at that moment. To have to sit in this space, look at y'all, be all happy, lovey, and dovey, and then be like, and I'm sitting here alone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know, like...
Right. Having that self-awareness to be like... I don't need to do that. Like, if I'm really going through stuff, like, because I go through periods, I go through highs and lows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I am. So, I was like, I literally just had a low, like, a week or two ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, when that happens, I won't answer certain phone calls. And I will send messages to people, and I'm like, I am just not where I need to be. And I don't want to give that. I don't want to exchange that energy with you. Yeah. I don't want to be, you know, I'm not ready. You know, when you have the time and you have the space and the opportunity to hold space for me, and you can really listen after I've processed this, and I really understand it, and I really got into a place where I'm ready to share, then, I mean, like, I've gotten better. Like, I used to not always communicate like that. Yeah. But that's something that I've had to do now. Like, I had to do that with my friend. They were, like, trying to call me, and, you know, how was Tanzania? What is this going on? Yeah. And I was just like, I was like, I love you. I'm not trying to ignore you. I get your phone calls. I just got something going on right now. Yeah. When I'm ready, I will call you. And they, you know, and so I have some friends that don't respect those boundaries. Those people are no longer friends. I have people that are like, they get it. They know me. They know I give to people a lot. Yeah. So when I take a step back, it's because I really need it. I need it. And then I can be the best me, and I can come to you full. Yeah. And I can, you know, and then I can have this time, you know, we can exchange. I can, you know, vent. You can vent, we good. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, some people don't have that, but you gotta kind of have that awareness to be like, ooh, I ain't right now. Yeah. I don't need to be over there because I ain't,
That's sense. One thing that we all, when you say about, do you know if you're the toxic person in a relationship, and that right there can, like, when you have the tools to be able to say, I need to chill. I'm not the right person to be in this space, or I can't talk to you because I'm not going to be the right person to talk to you about it because I'm probably going to give off something that's not right. Right. You know, and those are toxic moments that we all have. I mean, we all have them, but you can't portray that person 24/7. Right. And that's where I think that, you know, when you really want to call a person toxic, that's a toxic person because that's all they are every day. Yeah. Everything is the negative. Everything is the deceit. Everything, you know, everything is not the true self. Right. And they become toxic people instead of just owning that, hey, that's just not my shit. Like, I'm no good in that area, so I'm going to hang over here where I'm good. Yeah. I'll talk to you, you know, on a different level. But, you know, it's when it spills over into you putting that responsibility or putting that burden on another person, whether it be a friendship or a family or relationship, to where then now this is a whole toxic relationship, you know. And it has to end. You cannot carry on from there.
And I promise I'm quit talking. No. I think too, for some of us, when we say we're the toxic friend, how we kind of come to that understanding for some of us is that when we start thinking about, like, why we stop talking or why we isolate, because we feel like we're a burden. The toxicity is literally equated to a burden. Like, I feel like every time I'm talking to y'all, I'm the one with the issue. All y'all seem to be thriving, and I'm the one. And, like, and I don't want to be the one always bringing bad news. I don't want to feel like when I hang up for them, like, dang, they was really supportive, but, like, why I can't get my shit together? Like, so I think those are like those key signs that, like, okay, something needs to be reevaluated here. Because friends can sometimes, like, know you being toxic or know you having a rough moment. Oh, yeah. And they're going to try to be so supportive even though they know, like, bruh, she got nothing. Like, she got some other shit going on. Some other stuff going on, and it's going to take her a while, but I'm going to answer when she calls. Yeah. I'm going to try to sound supportive because she going to call me again next week. I know it. But you know what? Until then, I hope this word get through. I hope this get through. There you go. Exactly.
Yep, I agree. And I think that sums up toxicity. And I think ultimately, out of everything that we said, I think that people need to, you gotta do a lot of self-evaluation. You gotta look around. You gotta be able to determine, are you in a situation that you might need to get out of? You gotta learn to create your boundaries, but like you said, respect other people's boundaries as they come up and tell you things that they are going through. But I think ultimately toxicity in relationships is real. And we need to acknowledge that. And in 2020, there's no reason that we should still be in the same space that we were 10 years ago with this. I think toxicity is going to be there forever. No matter how long, it goes on, it's going to be an ongoing thing. But it's about what work are you doing to get out of a situation, or what work are you doing to thrive and make sure you don't get back into that situation, or to recognize if the toxicity is just a moment in time, if a person is going through something, or if that's truly who the fuck they are. And then you need to get the hell away from them. So I think ultimately you all can give yourselves a round of applause. For another great episode. The opinions are always valued and appreciated. And we'll be right back with the Montana Minute. We are now introducing a new segment to the podcast. This is called Living Single. We want you guys to send in any of your relationship questions, if you need advice, or if you just want to give feedback on the show on a topic that we've discussed. Feel free to DM them on Instagram to Shanna Montana, or you can inbox me on Facebook, Living Single, and we'll definitely be touching on these topics on each episode going forward. This brings us to the Montana Minute. The first thing, give yourself a reality check to see if you may possibly be in a toxic relationship that you have been in denial of and you need to do the work to get out ASAP. The next thing, take a deep look at yourself and recognize if you are the toxic partner. If so, start doing the inner work to heal and move into a better space for the sake of you and your partner, and own that the inner work may look like you removing yourself from the relationship, whether your partner wants it or not. And the last thing, remember that toxic relationships extend beyond boyfriend, girlfriend, and husbands and wife. They extend to family, friends, co-workers, and beyond. So do a check on all of them and put those in check that need it. So be sure you are following our Instagram page at To Be Single or Not To Be and our Facebook, because today our new apparel line is live to the public. So be sure you go to tobesingleornottobe.com to do some shopping, check out our blog, and there's so much more to keep you entertained. So I leave you to decide, to be single or not to be. That is the question. Signing off, yours truly, Shanna Montana.